Good morning, everybody. It's great to be here. Tremendous to be here. My name is Kyle Peterson, and I'm the new executive director of the Walton Family Foundation. I'm just so happy that we're helping to sponsor this great event. I'm now entering my 7th month as the head of the foundation, and I've learned a lot about the foundation and about the family. As you might not know, the foundation actually has been around for close to 30 years. It was created by Sam and Helen Walton, and they believe strongly in improving the lives of Americans and folks around the world through giving access to economic and educational opportunity. And I think really the area of education is the thing that struck the family early on with John Walton, but also even beyond that with other family members as I've spoken to them. Certainly in the third generation as well. I've also had a chance to learn how important listening to the community is to the family. That's why we spend so much time with doing research and actually spending time in communities before we actually do any type of investments. This is probably no more important than the area of education. And I'm a firm believer in demand-led social change. I've been doing that for 30 years. In our education work, the most important voices are the voices of parents. They're the voices of grandparents and caretakers. They're the folks who take kids to school every day. And what they wish is for what every parent wishes for, is that their kid is getting the best education they can actually have. I saw this just yesterday. In D.C., I was actually on the east side of the river in Anacostia in Ward 8, where I actually had a chance to sit down with a number of parents and listen to them talk about the school they wanted for their future. And the community listening to them to build the school that they really wanted. You know, we also know that as parents that the school is one part of the educational kind of puzzle. There are other things that are needed. Certainly information about schools, great transportation to make getting to school easy and getting to school quickly, and getting access to information so that parents know how well the school is performing and how well their children are performing. I just don't think you can listen to parents enough. That's why I'm so excited to introduce to you today a parent. He's an American success story. His name is Papa Ja, and he is the leader and founder of the African Leadership Group, which is a nonprofit that's based in Colorado. And he created this with other members in the African immigrant community to help that community thrive and prosper in Colorado. Papa was born in Dakar, Senegal, and he immigrated to the United States back in 1998. I had the chance to actually sit down with Papa, and we had this wonderful kind of mixture of history. I was a Peace Corps volunteer 30 years ago in Sierra Leone, traveled to Senegal, to a place called Tambacounda, and that's where, about 8 years later, Papa Ja actually taught as an instructor to fellow Peace Corps volunteers in Senegal. When Papa Ja arrived in the U.S. in 1998, he worked at a bookstore in Colorado. He taught himself English. He didn't speak English that well coming to the United States. And then he got a job at a bank. And pretty soon, members of the African immigrant community in Denver and Aurora started coming to him because he had lots of answers and great advice. He eventually created the African Leadership Group to help others transition to their new lives in the United States. And what he does is he brings together members of the African immigrant community all throughout Denver and to help them thrive. And in particular, they focus on education. Today, the African Leadership Group is helping to shape the great debate of education that's going on in Colorado. We're so excited to be partnering with the African Leadership Group. In fact, our board chair, Carrie Walton Penner, one of the family members I spoke to in the beginning, actually visited with Papa Ja and the African immigrant community there to learn more about the work. And I'd like to show you a little bit of what that was about. Let's take a look.
I'm tired of seeing people trying to help without taking the time to sit down and ask that person, how can I help? You cannot fix a problem or bring a solution if you don't know the source of that issue.
Today we're going to be meeting with the African Leadership Group, which was started by Papa Ja. Education innovation really has to start with families advocating for their needs. And Papa invited us to dinner at his house to listen and learn about how he helps people do that. What motivated you to bring the community together?
The reason I came in this country to look for opportunity to support the family that I left behind. My mom had 13 kids. It was difficult. Eating was a luxury. That's how difficult it was. And when I started working at the bank as a teller, my fellow African will come and see me working there. And next thing you know, every day I'll have a line out the door because they finally have an African brother working in the bank, and people will bring me the translation paper, the immigration issue. They need to find a house. So I end up doing more social work at the bank.
Right.
And I told myself there's got to be a better way to do this.
Tell me who we have here tonight, who will be joining us.
We have people from Tunisia, Nigeria, Senegal, Ghana, Mali, Ivory Coast.
Great.
It's a very diverse crowd. And now we have one voice. We are helping people go to school. We are helping parents identify good school. So I'm very excited for us now to start having the opportunity to be part of the conversation. We're gonna have a community gathering where we want to hear everybody's voice when it comes to education, to hear everybody, and maybe we can come together and have a better perspective.
It was shocking to me when I came to the United States to find out that, there was places in the United States that education didn't have the same, same standards.
We are trying to get our kids up there, and we want to have the opportunity for them to go to the best school.
And when our kids come here in the transition, getting situated or acclimatized in the regular public school education is difficult for them because they do not understand the system and the system do not understand them. So how do we bridge that gap?
To everybody's point, it has to start with us as a community, because when you don't show up, people have to decide for you and make choices for you. And that's something we can no longer afford. We just can't.
They gave me a test 3 days after I made it in the country, and I did really bad. But then my dad insisted, like any of these African parents would do. He said, this is my child, I know him, let him work, put him in 11th grade like he deserved to be, and he will prove himself. And they put me there. I proved myself at the end of the year.
To everybody's point, if you're not at the table, you are on the menu. So we really got to be involved and be at the Capitol. And we can no longer wait. We just can't. And it doesn't matter. Just show up to the Capitol and ask what's going on.
I want to say thank you to all of you, too, for sharing your story, for talking about the experience, too, because we want to have equal access to a great education. And all of the children who are in our school system need to have adults who are giving voice to their needs.
Fantastic. Please join me in welcoming a great listener, a great leader, and mon frère, Papa Ja.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody. It's truly an honor to be here, and I'm very excited for the opportunity. But the real person to be honored today is my mother that's back home, Senegal. And I was just home visiting last week, and she continued to amaze me. She did everything she could to raise her 13 children and give us a chance to fight in life to succeed. I think of her as I stand here because my mother did it as the parental duty, but all of you are doing it as a professional passion, and we can't thank you enough for that. I also want to have a very special thanks to Carrie from the Walton Family Foundation. She took an interest in our work. She came to our community, spent quality time with us. She's serious and sincere about building relationship and giving us the chance to be part of the solution finding to our concern. I am amazed by how well she and her team were able to capture our story and share it with the world. Although I am the founder of the African Leadership Group, but it's more like the African Leadership Group created itself and created me. It is the reflection of the African spirit. It's a demonstration of our culture. We help each other. We support each other. We educate each other. And now we have the chance to learn how to put our children first. I am just the very lucky one to be entrusted by my community to lead the work. I know we are all here with a focus on education, but it's important for me to say that we take a holistic view. We work for social impact, educational impact, overall to improve the quality of life for our family. And we know that education is central to that key that unlock possibilities. Education is the pathway to the American dream. But let me be clear about this. The American dream is beautiful and powerful. It is just another way of describing the universal human aspiration to reach one potential and make the world a better place for the next generation. No one country can own this ambition. It belongs to humanity. So we all share it like we share the passion to put our children first. Here's the bottom line. We must improve our school. We need more option and better option. We need schools that prepare our children to succeed in the rapidly changing world. Let me talk about Denver, that's the city that I came from. Denver has received a lot of attention and praise for its reform and improvement over the past several years. That's great. We have to give credit where credit is due. But the Denver metro area is home to over 3 million people. Over 100,000 are African immigrants. And unfortunately, in the Denver area, the vast majority of Black and brown children attend underperforming school. It's unfair and it's unacceptable. We cannot sacrifice our children's future because the adults charged with their care cannot get their act together. So the African Leadership Group is ready to engage and bring our African spirit to the education debate. We'll work together. We will use our collective voice to speak up. We will use our collective hand to do the work. And we'll be the force to ensure that education system abide by the most important principle: put our children first. Thank you.